Back here with Coach Mangini talking Bears and Seahawks. Bears defense was the story in this one. Khalil Mack had one of Chicago's 6 sacks on Russell Wilson, who couldn't stay upright at all. And Prince Amukamara took pick to the house. 24-17 Chicago, your final. Seattle now 0-2 on the year. Here's Seattle's quarterback, Russell Wilson.
Even on our successful, some of our best years, it didn't always look great at the beginning, but it's how you finish and how we can turn it around and just play the next game. And we get to go back home and play in Seattle, and we're going to need the 12 a lot, and we're going to need that feeling, and winning is a habit, and you got to get that feeling, and once you get the first one, it kind of hopefully rolls from there. And so, we're doing the right things in terms of how we're preparing, and I'll bet on the guys that we have, any time of the day.
Literally, his glass has been half full since birth. Russell Wilson. Coach, what do you think went wrong for the Seahawks last night?
It's like we talked about earlier. They talked all season about the running game. They talked about improving the running game. They talked about the importance of the running game. They drafted a running back in the first round, and then they're not running the ball on any kind of consistent basis. And that, to me, is a real problem. And even on the interception for a touchdown, okay, so they're running the ball fairly effectively the drive before that. Now they have a chance to go tie the game, and they get in empty. So they broadcast to the world, we are throwing the ball. So now Russell Wilson, who's been sacked 6 times, goes back. He's got a little bit of anxiousness to him because he's been hit so many times. And so he throws the hitch out wide, and the corner's squatting on it. It's not like he went back, saw the corner was squatting on it, and then threw it. Or he just kind of threw it out there. And you can see the corner never moves on this play, and it's a pick 6. There are so many good things happening for Seattle in the drive before because they ran the ball, and then to go to this, I just don't get it. You see, I don't get it.
See, Russell's right that they have started off slow in the past. The story with Seattle, we talk about this with New England. The story with Seattle has been they get bad, they stay alive in September, they find their legs in October, and you do not want to play them at the end of the year. That had been the story, and he's right. They've overcome it. But see, you made this point earlier, and I think it's the one that is most important for the Seattle Seahawks. They've never had this little talent. It's not even close. Like, whatever the second least talented Seahawks team is since Russell's been there, it is a big gap between them and this team. With Doug Baldwin out, who is their plus playmaker on offense that isn't Russell Wilson? And their best player on defense showed up days before the season in Earl Thomas. I mean, I shouldn't leave Bobby Wagner out. I apologize. I always...
Well, the players who were available for last night's game.
Exactly. Last night, but Wagner's not playing right now. So what do you do? What you're doing right now is you're saying we got one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league. We hope he can make enough happen. And to your point, Chicago's totally inept offense after the opening couple drives gave them a window. They gave them a chance. They were in that football game. The pick 6 obviously ended the football game.
Yeah, Russell, though, since 2016, there's only 4 quarterbacks throwing more interceptions than him on the road. So they haven't been a great team on the road. It's hard to be really, really good in the NFL. But Russell hasn't been at his best. So he can come up with more cliches, more coach speech, because no one says more things positive afterwards. He said, we got to finish better. The 12s, it's all about the 12s. That's the home crowd. He says also winning is a habit. And I like the way we're preparing. And if I was a betting man, I would bet on these guys in the locker room. So that's your normal. How does that help you win games, Russ? You got to stop turning the ball over. Interceptions, that was easy, a cover 2. And because you get hit, then you don't start to believe what you see. They had 2 safeties in. The corners sank a little bit. They were in cover 2. The reason why both corners, if you think Prince Amukamara jumped on it, you should see the other corner in the film. He was getting ready to rob it.
Oh, yeah.
All right? It's cover 2. Straight cover 2, 4-3, 3 linebackers dropping into to take away the hooks and the curls, and these corners are going to rob the flat. So when you get hit a lot, it affects the quarterback, and that's what happens to Russell when the Seahawks go on the road.
Can you go ahead?
And they can help him with that. They can help him with that by not putting him in those positions over and over again. They've had 2 games. They've run the ball 30 times in those 2 games. keep handing the ball off. I know it's not the most exciting football, but it allows you to get to exciting football, and it doesn't create exciting plays for the defense. It wears down your opponent, and then you have opportunities that you don't have if you just tell the world, hey, we're going to throw the ball on this play.
This is something to watching because, Coach, they did advertise this whole offseason based on the running game, trying to improve this offensive line to not be in a rebuilding stage, but to build on the offensive line. Brian Schottenheimer is their offensive coordinator. If they stay disconnected, we talk about coaches being under heat. Watch how this works out. Because Russell Wilson, he's one of the franchise quarterbacks, and they'll start to try to blame Brian. I'm not blaming Brian, but this is how things happen in the National Football League. You say you want to do something all year. Are they supporting the offensive coordinator and what he wants to do, or do they get in the habit of where they were before? Let's spread it out. When you go against Von Miller and Khalil Mack in week number 1 and week number 2, and you come up with a game plan that you're going to throw the ball as much as they have, you're not trying to win that game.
And he's been sacked a dozen times. No other quarterback's been sacked more than 10 times. Like, he is once again under duress as much, if not more, than any player in the league.
Well, but in fairness, he also extends plays a long time. He tries to make something happen. It's not all the offensive line's fault. I mean, sometimes the quarterback has accountability, too, if you're running around as much as he does.
Agreed. Oh, sure. But if we're sometimes he runs himself into sacks. He also runs himself out of sacks. Like, I agree he extends plays, but sometimes, so maybe there's, of those 12 sacks, maybe 3 he caused, but I bet another 3 or 4 he prevented with that athleticism.
Or are the Bears better than people thought this year, especially with the addition of Mack?
Yeah, they create some problems defensively, and they were a good defense last year. Adding Khalil Mack adds a whole nother element. You've got to account for him, and that creates opportunities for other guys. Yes, I think that's an element of it, but they knew that going in. It wasn't like it suddenly that it snuck up on them. They saw the game last week. They saw the problems that the Bears could create, and to some degree they tried to minimize it by chipping Mack and doing things like that. They could have done more.
And they didn't just add Mack. We got to keep in mind, and Mack's a great player. But Roquan Smith, the story on him out of Georgia is whoever drafts him has an NFL-ready, immediate linebacker. It's why he went in the top 10. Now, the contract dispute this offseason became the story with him. But they added a blue chipper in the draft, and then arguably the best front 7 defender in the entire league right before the season. Like, no, this defense is going to be excellent. Now, they got to take the training wheels off Trubisky a little bit. He can't be 32nd in the league in yards per attempt. Like, tier 2, he started some last year. You took him 2nd overall. They got him Allen Robinson. They got him Trey Burton. You got to see if he can throw the ball downfield some for the Bears to take that next step, because that defense is going to be consistent throughout the season.
Yeah, but you take those training wheels off, they better be able to balance on that bike.
You better have some insurance.
10 and 2.
Because you're going to get a busted chin.
Yeah, I've
Right?
taken
Emergency care soon afterwards. Yeah.
All right, well, look, Seattle's got another defense to contend with. They're hosting the Cowboys this weekend.
Finally
Coach,
get to go home.
Yeah, stick around. Coming up, how much can Josh Gordon help the Patriots? Next on First Things First.